All right, guys, on this segment, we're going to be talking about what permits and licenses do I need to start my business. Don't let this scare you. I can tell you right now, just get the products up and get them going and start getting some sales, but definitely be compliant with the law. Now, some of these things, and I've started businesses where we've had certain products that we sold them, and then we had the manufacturer and do some things locally. So getting the product sold first was ultimately the key because it was the minimum viable product. And then that gave me a proof of concept. And I said, okay, now we can start the business based on this. So don't get in your head about it. Don't think that you have to do so much planning that you get into analysis paralysis, right? But you do want to know what permits and what licenses you're going to need, because you will need some. For instance, if you're a security firm or a private investigator, you need certain licenses and credentials to be able to do that. You can't just start a private investigations firm and start working, right? Because there's certain licenses and there's certain qualifications that you'll need for that. If you're going to do any type of manufacturing, depending on the state, certain states have certain laws. Federal government, like for instance, I have a pyro license, right? In order to handle fireworks and pyrotechnics, I have to get federal licenses and state licenses, depending on what I'm doing. Definitely state licenses in multiple states, but federal to work on federal properties. So these are licenses that I would have to get in order to do my job. So I have to do that up front, right? And there's a qualification period for that. Now, other ones like manufacturing, painting cars, things like that. You have environmental licenses that you're gonna have to comply with and permits to do that. There's gonna be other ones as well. In Vegas here, we have permits in order to operate just within the city. Just to operate your business, you need a permit. Just to operate the business. You might need other permits to do other things in the business, like a gas permit or like something else to do other things that may come from the fire department. So there's many different things here. You're gonna wanna check this. Now, legal compliance, and it's avoiding penalties or closure. If you have businesses and you're running and gunning, I can tell you what, in certain states, probably the states that are really up to par on things like the bigger cities, and I say this because rural cities, they're more lackadaisical, they don't have as many staff, so the process may be longer. Don't skirt the law. Make sure you're compliant, but you want to make sure that you get the licenses up front and you're in the know. Because if you know it, a lot of these cities and a lot of these counties and a lot of these states, they're not going to say, oh, okay, well, we'll give you a pass this time because you didn't know. Not going to work like that. They're not going to give you a pass. They're not going to tell you it's okay. It's your job to understand these things up front as a business owner. You can't play the innocent card, right? What are some types of permits and licenses? I talked about some, but federal licenses, food, transportation. For instance, in the pyrotechnic world, I need a license just to transport certain pyrotechnics. That's a different license than the license I need to operate the pyrotechnics. That's a different permit than I need than they're all different than the permits that I need in each city that I'm going to be firing the pyrotechnics in. That's just one example. If I'm doing compressed gas, same thing, totally separate. I need a permit to transport. I need a federal permit to transport and a federal license to be able to do that according to how much gas is there. Not to mention, I need certain licenses local and certain permits to use that gas in the areas. You can see where this gets convoluted, right? But it's very simple. You just got to do the research, you got to do the due diligence, and you got to call your city, your county, and your fire department, or the Department of Transportation and any federal agency that may be regulating this. Food, the FDA, they're gonna regulate certain things, right? Now, what's ironic is there's certain agencies that regulate certain things that you would never even know. For instance, if you had a laser for like EDM shows or clubs or the entertainment industry, you have to get variances from companies that you wouldn't even think about that. The FDA provides those variances. So you're like, well, wait, that's the Food and Drug Administration. Well, guess what? The FDA actually works with this, and they're the ones that govern certain parts of this. So there's certain things here, and this is where it gets interesting. So you want to check, you want to make sure you're in the know. So federal, state, local permits, business operation, zoning. Are you in a certain zone? Are you doing a mechanic shop where you have oils? Those oils need to be disposed of accordingly. You need a permit for this stuff. You need an operating permit to be able to do this. You need environmental permits, things like that, right? Industry specific licenses, check online. There's plenty of options to check online now. These options are plentiful, and especially with GPTs and any of these AIs, you can search on there. Really dig deep. We have a program that we talk about how to do this, how to search things, and ultimately how to scale your business, which is included here. and a repository of many videos. You'll probably want to check that out because it'll jog the mind on content and how to use these things to your advantage and not just do one-line searches, right? That's how to find them. Other options on finding these requirements: calling your SBA, your Small Business Administration resource, right? Checking state and county websites. Obviously, there's plenty of information. We are in an information society and age right now. There's so much information. That's why the burden is on you to figure it out. You can't play the innocent card. Now, what are common mistakes to avoid on this? Don't ignore updates or renewals. Be within your industry, talk to other people. If you want to start an automotive shop and you don't know what to do, guess what? You could probably call 10 automotive shops, and within the first 3, you'll probably talk to the owner and you can say, hey, I'm looking at starting an automotive shop. It's not in your area, so don't worry, I'm not going to compete with you, but it's across town, it's in the same city. I'm curious, what types of permits would I need for this, right? Put the ego aside, drop everything and just say, look, what do I need to do and what do I need? And they'll point you in the right direction. And they'll do it for free probably. Hey, bring your car in and get an oil change and just chat with them on the side and say, look, I want to start an automotive or an oil change shop. This is what I want to do. Now you can do this with anything, manufacturing, selling things, whatever the case may be. The thing is this, you need licenses and you need permits. Even a hot dog stand on the sidewalk, you need a permit for that because you have to have a food permit. You have to have an operating permit in order to run that. There's regulations surrounding that. Now, if you operate without the necessary permits, this is a massive mistake because you could get a long way with it for a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks, but eventually it's going to catch up to you. And I can guarantee that it will bite you in the A. And funny story is when I used to DJ at some of these college parties back in the day, they're required to file permits for the DJ and for an assembly. It's an assembly permit to assemble people in a certain area. You might think this is not a big deal, but guess what? This is a business for me. It's a DJ business. I can't go in there and say I didn't know that. If we didn't file the permit, the cops come in, or worse, the fire department comes in and they say, wait, this building is meant to hold 100 people, but you have 250 in here. I get a $5,000 ticket, and that's a massive strike on my record, right? Not a criminal strike, but I'm violating the law and I get a $5,000 ticket. Not to mention I can get my equipment confiscated and even put in jail because I'm the one orchestrating this event and I'm the one that's in the know of what I should need and shouldn't need. It's a safety concern. 250 people in a space that can only handle 100. There was a fire, there was an issue. People are all jamming to the door. They can't get out in time because of all the areas that they can get out, the inlets, the outlets, all the area there. There's a lot more that goes into this than you think. There's a lot of planning involved and engineering behind the scenes. That's why these permits are there. The permits and licenses are really there to keep you safe and to keep your customers safe and actually to keep you law-abiding, because insurance, if you operate without them and then something happens and insurance comes down and says, okay, did you have a license or permit for that? And you say no, boom, done. Your claim is denied and you're getting rejected, and guess whose pocket that's coming out of? Yours. You don't want that to happen. Stay compliant. So we're gonna switch gears here and we're gonna start talking next on where can I get money for my business? You want to know this. We talked about some of those in earlier segments, but we got some fun tips coming up. So we'll see you on the next one.